Coming up next, the Bookening reads War and Peace. Hey everybody, welcome to the Bookening. This is Nathan Albertson, your humble and obedient host, joining you for another week of the Bookening podcast. It's a little show where we talk into a microphone about literature and you listen, you're enthralled, you learn something, you might laugh a little bit, you'll probably cry, and either way, you'll be an exceptionally better person than you were before.
That's right.
Right, Brandon?
That's right, Nathan.
And speaking of people who are better than other people,
Yeah.
we've got Brandon Chastain right
Hey,
there.
you too, Nathan.
Thank you. And there's a third person. Actually, I should say I'm your humble and obedient host, Brandon.
Yeah?
Yours, Jake's, everyone's. You are the scholar who's a baller of reading or
Yes.
of books.
Either
Been some
one.
dispute on that point. But either way, you're a baller. You're just a baller gentleman all around.
That's right.
Now, there's a third. Would it surprise you to learn, Brandon,
What?
that there's a third gentleman in this room?
Seriously?
Yeah. I'll describe him to you, and you can see if you can guess.
Okay.
He's tall.
Okay.
He's got a giant wart stuffed with hair.
Oh.
Big, hairy wart
Okay.
on his face.
Beginning to come into focus here.
You'd be forgiven for just thinking, there's a wart with arms
Yeah.
walking at me.
Yeah.
You know this guy I'm talking about?
I think so.
He's also
Uh-huh.
a pastor who's a master of reading.
What?
The pastor, I should
Okay.
say. There's only one.
That's right.
It's like He-Man. Or no, what's the thing where there can be only one?
Highlander.
Highlander. Yeah. He's also a regular He-Man. Why don't you introduce this gentleman, Brandon, if you think you can guess him based on my description?
He's the pastor who's the master. He's the pastor who's a master of reading.
Ooh, that's an interesting point. I guess there are people in other vocations that are masters of reading, I suppose, like yourself.
I think he should be the pastor who's the master of reading.
The pastor who's the master of reading?
Yeah, why not?
So there's only one pastor who's the one master of reading.
Yeah.
That means you and I can't be masters of reading.
Okay.
Okay. You're cool with it. I'm cool with it.
Jacob Menzel.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, what's up?
Guys, we have a little bit of business to get to
Yeah.
before the podcast commences, and we talk about War and Peace, which I'm excited to do. This is like the episode where we're going to get into the nitty and the gritty, talk about the war, the peace, all the other stuff that happens in the book.
Are we going to balance our QuickBooks?
Yeah. But guys, first, we were sent a package in the mail by a friend of ours,
Yeah.
an internet friend.
It's not you, right?
No, he's not.
He's not
Decidedly not.
you.
That's like his famous moniker. Nathan, not Nathan. Nathan, not me. Sent us some Christmas gifts, guys. Now, we love Nathan. He's one of our favorites. He said, whoever can guess their books first owes the others some Burger King.
Okay.
And then he gave us hints. Nathan, we've each received a package, which seems very much like it might be a book, and it's wrapped in wrapping paper and all that. Nathan got the first American Gothic novel. Brandon got a French Arthurian romance. And Jake got a novel by an Indiana man that didn't deserve to be forgotten.
Yep.
And then he said, sorry if these hints were too easy.
Such easy hints.
Well,
and he also said no Googling, right?
he
said
did say
no
no Googling, which we have not done. But let's go ahead and make some guesses, guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll be honest. We've talked about this a little bit off mic. Brandon made a suggestion. I think Brandon is correct about mine.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Brandon's correct about mine.
I did not pull this myself. I was thinking about all the Gothic novels. I was thinking about your Castle of Otranto and your The Monk and your...
But none of those are American.
Yeah, none of those are American. I could not remember what the original...
You forgot about the old CBB.
The old CBB?
Yeah. Charles Brockton Brown, baby.
I did forget about him, which is who Brandon thinks this is, and I think Brandon's right, which is Weiland. Is that how you say that? Wieland.
Yeah.
Which I've never read, so I'm excited if that's what it is. I'm also excited if it's something else.
Yeah.
Maybe it's American Gothic by
Brad Easton Ellis.
Oh,
That's
that's
not
American Psycho. Brandon, yours is a French Arthurian romance.
Yeah, I think it's one of the lays of Chrétien de Troyes. Which one, I'm not sure. It could be Isolde, it could be Eric and Enid. Who knows? We'll find out. It could be a compilation.
I'm going to guess Isolde.
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know why I thanked you for that. It could be a French poet I'm not thinking of. That is possible.
French Arthurian romance.
French Arthurian romance. I'm locking in. Is this like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes.
I'm locking in Chrétien de Troyes. I'm going to lock in Isolde, like you said.
All right, now Jake's is interesting. Novel by an indie man that didn't deserve to be forgotten. Or I'm sorry, Indiana man that didn't deserve to be forgotten.
Okay, I thought maybe it said indie after all, unless it could be like anybody. It could
No.
David Foster Wallace.
It's like an indie author.
Like an indie author, yeah.
Yeah, no. Indiana. So
If it's indie with a Y, it'd have to be an Indianapolis author.
That's true.
now he said they didn't deserve to be forgotten. He did not necessarily say that they had been forgotten. He just doesn't think they deserved it.
Oh, maybe he's being a riddle.
maybe it's a riddle. So that would mean it could be Kurt Vonnegut.
Does this mean that Nathan, not Nathan, is our riddler?
He might be our riddler.
Whoa.
I think he is. We are a riddler, guys.
We should get somebody to send us a picture of Nathan, not Nathan, dressed as the riddler.
I can think of only one person that could possibly do that for us.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Brandon says...
I had a guess.
Brandon's guess is...
The Magnificent Ambersons by Booth Tarkington.
Yeah.
Is Booth
Brandon's
Tarkington forgotten?
Well,
I think
I definitely was going I was like calling up people like Gene Stratton Porter, who is in fact not a man. I also discovered.
He was definitely an Indiana guy.
And then Brandon was like, Booth Tarkington, idiot.
Yeah.
Probably the Magnificent
It's too big to be...
And I think he's right.
It's too big. It's too small to be that other famous Indiana book.
What's the other famous Indiana book?
Well, let me...
Do we know it's a novel? Yeah, it's a novel. So it can't be, what's his face? The goblin's going to get you if you don't watch out. What's that guy's name?
James Whitcomb Riley.
Yeah, it's not him. Unless he wrote a novel.
It's definitely not Ben-Hur.
Yeah, I was wondering if James Whitcomb Riley wrote a novel.
And Lewis Wallace, Ben-Hur has not really been forgotten.
What about...
No, it hasn't.
Here's a dark horse. Could it be the guy that wrote Christmas Story? In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash by Gene Shepard? Could it be that?
I don't even know who he is.
Well, he didn't deserve to be forgotten. He wrote the thing that Christmas Story was based on.
That deserves to be forgotten.
I like Christmas Story.
You can like it and still think
the book didn't...
It's not so sad if it's forgotten.
Well, the guy, judging by the prose in the movie, was a pretty funny writer.
Huh. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what yours ends up being.
It's probably the Magnificent Ambersons. So if it is the Magnificent Ambersons, does Brandon owe us Burger King?
I guess I owe you guys like 3 Burger Kings.
3 franchises, in fact. That's a lot of Burger King.
What if I'm wrong about all of these?
You're not.
That'd be super fun. I don't think you're wrong about Wieland, because that is...
Wieland, I'm pretty sure, because that was the first American Gothic.
Well, why don't I open it up?
Okay.
And we'll find out. We'll take good turns.
I'm so nervous.
Oh, here it comes. Ooh. Cool.
Oh,
Folks,
that's a good copy.
This is a Norton Critical Edition. This is exciting. This is a good gift. Thank you, Nathan, not me. This is like a really cool edition. Wieland and Memoirs of Carwin the Billowquist.
Nice.
Got both of them right here. The trifecta, or the dufecta. Edited by Brian Waterman, a Norton Critical Edition. The first Gothic novel in America. Story of religious delusion and horrific violence. That sounds like my kind of book right there.
Yeah.
And it also reprints Memoirs of Carwin the Billowquist, Brown's fragmentary sequel to Wieland. This is very cool. And Brandon owes us 1 Burger King.
So I just looked up Indiana writers just to see.
Oh, you're gonna go for Google here?
Well, I think we've locked in with Booth Tarkington, right?
Yeah.
There's a guy named James Alexander Craig Thom who wrote an American colonial history that they don't even tell you who it is. All right, James Whitcomb Riley comes up. I wonder if he didn't write a novel. Something but he's not really forgotten. I mean, Booth Tarkington is
his novel is obviously.
Yeah.
Magnificent Ambersons lives on. I mean, it's a pretty famous
Orson Welles did
movie
it, right?
by Orson Welles, at least.
Never saw it.
Yeah, me neither. But
I'll have to see it after I read the book.
After you read the book.
If that is indeed what I have.
You can watch Christmas Story after you read In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash.
I guess it could be another Booth Tarkington novel. At least we got in the wheelhouse of Booth Tarkington.
And Kurt Vonnegut is, in fact, Indiana, right? But he's not.
Definitely not forgotten.
He's not forgotten.
You could say he's less forgotten than Booth Tarkington.
Yeah. Well, who wants to go next?
Because they have a
I think
picture.
Brandon needs to go next.
Yeah, I think
a painting of Booth Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, nobody got a painting of Booth Tarkington. What a cool name, though.
It's probably got. It's Yvain, but it is Chrétien de Troyes. This is a really good copy. Wow. And
you got a little thing too?
Yeah. Wow.
For $10.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. This is really nice. I do not have this copy. I have the Isolde, Tristan Isolde, and Eric in the Need. Nice. Thank you, Nathan, not Nathan.
Yeah.
This adds to my collection of books.
Very cool. Jake?
I got
Ha!
The Magnificent Ambersons.
The Magnificent Amberson.
by Booth
By
Tarkington.
Booth Tarkington. So Brandon owes us all Burger King.
All right. Next episode, we will eat Burger King live. I will
Yes.
take your orders. I will bring it in.
All right. I love it. Folks, we'll do the
Thanks so much, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. These are great gifts.
Wow. What a generous thing.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
And I'm happy I was right.
Yeah, me too.
When I had my knee surgery, we watched a lot of Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I'm batting 1,000 for any literary category.
Because of course you are.
Yeah. That's what they call it, batting 1,000, when it's not batting 100.
Great gifts. Yes. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I mean, Merry Christmas, man. I don't know. I don't know how to make my words sound sincere.
Well, it's one of the special things about a show like this is it is weird that we get to be friends with a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's special when you get to make real friends in the process.
Yeah.
And it's been sweet getting to be friends with Nathan, not Nathan, and other people across the country.
Yeah.
Just because of, connections we've made about books or shared life experiences or whatever, opportunities to meet each other.
Well, and we have the opportunity to be in people's heads all the time. It's nice when people talk back. It's nice when they send us stuff. And I don't just mean like, it's nice when we get stuff. It's nice when you send us stuff.
We will.
Well, one of the fun things about a lot of the people that I think that we've come to appreciate the most. So the card that we have is from Jay and Katie, who are cold and love cheese, and C.S. Lewis, including Till We Have Faces, right?
And are
so
loved.
they want us to declare their opposition to us.
Right.
And yet, I don't know that there are any listeners out there that I feel, in other parts of the country that I feel a closer friendship and kinship to than Jay and Katie. And the same is true of Nathan, not Nathan, who, I think there are a lot of things that we disagree or would disagree about on really serious matters. But at the end of the day,
we all agree that Johnny Tremaine's going to suck.
That's right. Yeah.
It brings people together.
And that's sweet when Johnny Tremaine can bring you together with
his mangled hands.
Or Tolstoy with his amazingness.
Well, no, I mean, it really is nice. And thank you to everybody who listens. Thank you to Jay and Katie for the wonderful Christmas card you sent us.
Yeah.
And which is a really nice card and nice
It
family.
is a very nice
lovely
card.
family. And thank you to Nathan, not me. And if anybody else, sometimes the conversation can be a little one-sided and you might think that's to our advantage since we're the side that the conversation gets to emanate from, but we like to hear from you. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you feel oppressed by our one-sided conversation, go ahead and fire back at us.
We should have an option for people to send us voicemails with like questions and stuff.
Oh, that'd be fun. We should just do a mailbag episode, actually.
Yeah, you can send us questions. You can send us voicemails. How would they send us voicemails? We'll give you Nathan's phone number.
Yeah.
You can actually, I'll just say, you can find my phone number pretty easily.
We're not going to make it so easy as to give it right now, but if you want it.
It's 81.
It is. It does begin at 81.
Right.
In fact,
But
I'll even go so far as to say it begins 812. But
There are 7 other numbers, though.
you can find my cell phone, my personal cell phone, and you can call it. At this point, I get so much spam garbage every day.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say that I would answer, and I used to answer it all the time.
Right.
And I used to get calls,
Yeah.
and now I don't answer it often. So you need to leave a voicemail or shoot me a text if you find my number, because I get so much spam crap. But you can find it, shoot me a message, and I will be in touch.
Yeah. Send us an email through the Warhorn link at warhornmedia.com. There's all kinds of ways to get. I dare say my email's out there if you want it.
We want more engagement on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram at the Bookening.
Yeah.
We love to hear from you. And honestly, the conversation, sometimes I think people will listen and they'll hear me beating up on Agatha Christie and they'll just think, that jerk. But I think they kind of assume that I think my opinion is the only opinion that exists. And rightfully so, because I act like it. Because I'm a jerk. But the fact is, people can have other opinions. Like Jay and Katie, they like Till We Have Faces, which we think is crazy talk, but that's okay. We still love Jay and Katie.
Yep.
So, send us your thoughts on stuff. We're interested to hear.
Yeah, Jake and Nathan think Anna Karenina is the superior book to War and Peace.
Well, Brandon,
And we're right.
that's a
No,
great.
no, you guys are wrong.
That's a great segue.
Yeah.
Brandon's favorite mode of transportation, the Segway.
A Segway, that's right. I don't walk.
He doesn't walk, no.
Right on a
He
Segway.
gave up the walking
I'll eat
ghost
donuts.
a long time ago. Yeah. Segways over to the donut shop.
That's right. And then I segue back to the next donut shop.
Yep. Brandon's life is just a series of donut
shops.
shop journey, donut shop journey, and so on.
I mean, I do my work remotely anyway, so I just go to donut shop.
Listen,
Yeah.
that's a great transition
Yeah.
into War and Peace,
War and
because
Peace.
I do not think that War and Peace is as good as Anna Karenina.
And I think, actually, you want my real opinion?
Yeah.
Off the top?
Yeah.
I think that by comparing these two things, we're making an argument that doesn't really make sense because they're two
Apples
different
and oranges,
Yeah, they're
huh?
two different things. War and Peace is not meant to be a novel. Anna Karenina is meant to be a
but
novel.
that's just garbage. It's a novel.
That's like spam garbage.
It's not a novel, though.
What
it doesn't
is
really
if
fit.
it's not a novel?
It doesn't really fit into the novel
Why not?
form.
Explain.
It's got
It's an
characters
epic.
and stuff.
Argue.
It's an epic.
It's not epic poetry. So what?
It's not
a
an
class
epic
of its own?
poetry.
Mhm.
It is kind of a class of its own. Tolstoy was making this thing that was trying to encapsulate. He was trying to write like history as history should be written.
Right, which is all
With
people,
fiction.
all places, all
Yeah.
times, which is impossible.
And so this book in some ways feels impossible, and yet somehow it works.
So by that
I know
metric,
it
I'm not
works.
allowed to compare it to anything, Brandon? Is that
You
what
can
you're
compare
saying?
it to things, sure. And so here's where
So you're allowed to compare it to things so long as you place it as superior to those things.
Right.
here's where I'll bow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as a novel goes, Anna Karenina is superior.
Yay.
I'm just not convinced
We win.
that War and Peace is meant to be a novel.
As an artifact of human history, which one is better?
Okay,
well,
now that's the right question.
Nostalgia-wise, my gut says if I were to be forced to just live with one book,
Consign one to the fire and
and I'm willing to go so far as to say one of those two books would be the one outside of the Bible that I would live with
Mhm.
forever and not
Yeah.
have any other books.
Yeah.
And without any hesitation, it would be War and Peace for me.
Well, when you put it like that, just the fact that War and Peace is so expansive gives it a little bit of an edge because
It does.
all you've
Well,
got is
there's
it in the Bible.
That much to live with. Like,
Yeah.
outside of the Bible, what
captures
work,
this much of
captures as much
this
of the whole
breadth of
human
the
experience.
human experience.
Nothing.
But if it was the only Tolstoy I was allowed to live with, and I could also have some other things to supplement my reading,
Mm-hmm.
I still think Anna Karenina is superior.
But that changes the question. Yeah.
It does. I'm changing the question so that I can answer it Anna Karenina.
Well,
that's
look,
not fair.
No, it is fair because the reality is we're not limited to desert island situations. And the fact is we have a whole world, a whole Western canon and non-canon of things to choose from. And so if you're going to save one thing from the fire from Tolstoy, or if you're going to just sort of like put together your master list and you can have one thing from any one author, okay, fine. Maybe War and Peace does a better job of encapsulating everything that Austen and Dickens and everybody else gives you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can have Dickens and Austen, then give me Anna Karenina.
Well, here's where I think Anna Karenina is superior.
And then throw Dickens in the fire where he belongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they, I think Brandon would agree. I think we would all agree that Anna Karenina, structurally, in terms of doing what a novel does, it's better.
I mean, as far as that's what it's intended to do, yes.
Right.
I just don't know if the terms better apply here.
Right. But
It's
what
like
I want to say
that's
is,
like saying a nocturne fails at being a sonata,
right.
or a sonata
No,
fails
it's
at being.
not like
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, it
More
is.
like
It's
the
a
sectern.
novel.
This is not a novel.
Come on.
You want me
Go to
I-
Wikipedia and
I will
see what it's classified as.
I will tell you right now.
Here, I'm
from
going to type
Tolstoy-
great Russian novels into Google. We'll see what comes up.
But here's what the author himself says: "What is War and Peace?"
Oh, authors never
Who
know
cares
about
what
their
he
own.
says?
I do. I always
You and
care what the
Tolstoy
author-
can just be in a corner.
I care what the authors think.
Oh, look.
He says-
I typed in great Russian novels. You want to know what the first thing that comes up is, Brandon? You think
War-
it's Dr. Zhivago?
War and Peace.
You think it's The
Is it
Master
War-
and the Margarita?
Is it War and Peace?
It's War and Peace.
Good. That's where it belongs. Number one.
It's the great Russian novel. Everybody knows that. If I go up to a homeless person on the street or a home person and I say, hey, what's the great Russian novel? They'll say, War and Peace.
Yeah,
Probably-
they won't even be able to say Tolstoy, but they'll be able to say War and Peace.
No, if you go and ask a
They'll
classical
say-
person,
they'll
they'll say
say-
Crime and Punishment.
Oh, well, boo
That's
to
because
them.
they're idiots.
Yeah.
And I don't want to
Who
punish
cares
them
what
with
the
crime.
idiots
Yeah.
say?
We'll
Like,
punish those
go to the homeless
fools with
people who
crime.
are smarter. They'll say, I can't remember, is it War of the Roses or War and Peace? I think it's War and Peace.
Yeah.
By Alexis de Tocqueville. I don't
Yeah.
know, something like that.
Like, yeah.
They're not going to say, well, I would say War and Peace, but technically it's not a novel.
Oh, okay.
Only the kind of person that would answer with some Dostoevsky garbage would say that.
Oh man, that stings, Jake.
Yeah.
That really
Well-
stings.
Well, obviously
The
it's
truth
Fathers and
hurts.
Sons by
The truth
Turgenev.
hurts, Brandon. What are you going to do about it?
truth hurts me. Da, 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 da. Okay. I'm starting to sing, what's her name?
Lizzo.
Yeah.
All right, I know Tolstoy said it wasn't a novel.
I'm going to read you this paragraph.
Yeah, Lizzo.
All right, let's hear
What
it.
is War and Peace? It is not a novel, still less an epic poem, still less a historical chronicle.
Tolstoy is allowed to be grandiose when he writes
War and
his
Peace is what the
appendixes,
author
but-
wanted
Yeah.
and was able to express in the
come
form in which it is expressed.
Oh, okay, that clears it all up. It's what the author wanted to express in the form in which it is expressed.
Did you know it is what it is?
Well, actually, so...
Jake, I'm going to posit to you that absolutely everything ever written is the thing
That it is.
that it
the
is.
form matches...
I agree with that
The
statement.
form is created in
You want to know
such a
why?
way-
Because it's a tautology, Brandon.
The form is created in such a way as to satisfy the needs of that artistic thing, the object.
If he were creating a new genre, he would have imitators that succeeded in imitating his form. He did not
That's an
create a
interesting
new
question. I
genre.
wonder if anybody has tried to imitate this.
Yeah, novelists.
Well, the best way I can make sense of War and Peace, and this is where it actually does fail Anna Karenina, and I think I said this over our Slack, and I bet people are jealous they're not part of our Slack channel,
Yeah,
and
well,
you should be.
Pony up.
They should be.
Because we have
We
amazing...
should like create like a $100 or $250 level that allows people to be a part of our Slack channel or
Hey,
something
I'm
like
that
that.
down.
give us $250 a month.
It would require a lot to be able to be that.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
we have to have absolute
To be that
freedom.
intimate with us, yeah.
Because
We say some pretty gnarly things in that Slack channel.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes we even say bad words.
Oh, yeah, because somebody might have recommended an author that made all of us say, I didn't realize anybody with a modicum of sense read that author.
Yes, only
And
not in those
respected
words.
that author.
I didn't realize anyone with a modicum of sense.
it like that, Nathan.
You said something much more colloquial to
Yes.
your credit.
Yep.
Pretty sure I said if I could. I was driving home at that moment. I think I said if I could, I'd drive myself off the road.
This person was
Yeah.
like, the moral equivalent of Johnny Tremaine is if there's one thing outside of Scripture that best encapsulates truth and goodness and beauty, it's Johnny Tremaine.
Good grief.
Right.
Like, this was about the level of
Yeah.
I
that.
would respect an argument of Nietzsche being
Oh,
Heck yeah.
more than this person.
Heck yeah.
100 times more over. I mean, wow. Yeah.
So, anyways,
This
I
is
mean,
the length.
what are we talking about?
I mean, to read that, to say that author literally has to be like the only thing that you've read outside of Johnny Tremaine.
well,
Like,
yeah, and you have to be
stupid.
stupid. I was going to say.
Brandon, give me a definition. I'm bringing us back here of the novel of a novel that does not encapsulate.
I was hoping
War and
you wouldn't
Peace.
do that,
younger than
Nathan.
25.
I was hoping you wouldn't do that. Can I go back and say what I said on Slack first?
Please
Because I was about to actually
give something
concede to you guys.
Yes.
I think that War and Peace is best understood as a philosophical tract intermixed with about 5 novels.
I think it's best understood as a fictitious prose narrative of book length, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism.
Okay.
Which is how
But typically a novel follows one character, maybe 2 characters in the way their lives intertwine. That's a definition of like War and Peace. Of Anna Karenina, sorry.
Sure.
And with War and Peace, you have Prince Andrei's story. Then you also have Pierre's story. And you also have Natasha's story. They all intertwine to some extent.
Yeah,
No, not to some extent. You're basically talking about 2 families.
Yeah. But then you also have Napoleon's story. And you also have Kutuzov's story.
And that's why Lord of the Rings is only about one character. Oh, wait.
But it's an epic.
It's about lots of characters. Yeah, but it's an epic novel.
It's an epic novel, sure.
It's a series of epic novels or an epic.
I'm not
series
quite.
of
I actually
novels.
don't know if when you look up Lord of the Rings, if it would say it's a novel.
If I look up fantasy novels, I bet you it's the first thing that...
Oh yeah, but of course the internet's stupid, Nathan. Why are you trusting the internet?
Because it's an easy hammer to beat you with.
I know.
You deserve it.
That's all. I don't know if I deserve it. You guys sure think I do. Let's see.
Okay, people are going to
Listen,
think we're being mean to Brandon.
The fact is,
Well,
the
Wikipedia
2
says
dumbest
it's a
people
fantasy
in the
novel.
room are always going to beat up on the smartest person.
Yeah, that's why you guys are always beating up on me.
Yeah, it's an epic high fantasy.
It's kind of weird that we're beating up on Brandon here.
It says
I know.
novel, but I mean, we're really getting into. We should do an episode on novel theory and then lose all our Patreon supporters.
No, they would love it.
Yeah,
That actually would be fun. We
It
should
would
do
be
that.
fun.
because there are so many theories of the novel. Because the novel itself is such a weird, dynamic, changing creature.
The one thing that you can say about War and Peace that does set it apart from other novels, but I don't know if it sets it apart to its credit, is that Tolstoy had a theory.
Mm-hmm. And boy, did he want to make sure people understood that theory.
He wanted to make sure
Did that theory have to do with history?
it did. And his disdain, utter disdain for all historians.
Did it have to do with the fact that we often think that there are great men in history?
Yeah.
And that they're not as important as we think they are?
That's right.
Oh.
That if we take divine providence out of the equation, then we still have to ascribe some divine or semi-divine will somewhere. So we create this category of genius and great man.
Which, to be fair,
genius
and
man.
does Tolstoy prove that?
He does prove.
We live in the era of social studies where people kind of know that now, or that's accepted.
Well, yeah.
But in that era, I mean, he is reacting against something that was pretty pernicious, which was this great man theory.
No,
of everything.
He was, and now we live in post-colonial theory.
Right. Yeah, we don't believe in great men anymore. So
no,
I think we're more
everything is shaped by its culture.
But Tolstoy was actually being pretty risque, and
he was being super risque, and he also, I mean, the fact is, he comes down at the end and just says over and over again, everybody thinks everything's all about power, and guess what? Everything today is still filtered through the lens of power.
Oh man, it's so annoying.
Well, it's Marxist theory for you.
It's just Marxist theory, and it's everywhere.
And so you have Tolstoy in Russia before Marx
telling
us what it is and what's happening and how it's going down and how it's going to be.
I mean, there's a Chestertonian level of like, I see how it's going to go down.
Yeah, 200 years in advance, like 100 years, 50 years in advance. I see it all.
Yep.
Like, that is a lot of what's going on here. And that is, in some ways, some of the most profound stuff of this book is like, Tolstoy understands critical race theory better than you do, and he never heard of this stuff.
Right. Yeah. So that is to get us back to the main point, that is the thing that separates this from most other novels, is that he has this long philosophical tract that he wants to put in the second half.
To be fair, I would argue that both, the one thing that keeps War and Peace and Anna Karenina both from being perfect are the philosophical craziness that happens at the end.
But he couches that in story in Karenina. I mean, it's Levin experiencing it.
Now, I have to, yes, that's true. And that does make Anna Karenina better.
Mm-hmm.
But I did read most of the philosophical stuff at the end of this book, and at one point I was laughing out loud.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
he's
hilarious.
Like,
he has a page-long quote of how historians understand things that is just hilarious.
Well, there's that section where he compares Moscow to bees and all this stuff. Yeah. Like, he's still great. And
that's still great.
Insofar as I don't get it, I want to say the problem's with me, because he's such a genius everywhere else. He must be a genius here. You know what I mean? Like, if Tolstoy wants to go off on a philosophical rant, he's earned the right. Yeah. Like, he's proved himself in every other place. So who am I to say his philosophical rants are stupid?
And now this book also, like I said, is 10 years before Anna Karenina. And I am a defender of the artist maturing. I don't often think, I think I'm on record as saying, I don't often think that authors make their best works early.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be fair, I mean, he was in his 30s when he wrote this.
A lot of them peak and then go downhill.
This is a mature work for him. Anna Karenina is his most mature work, I think. I do think that Anna Karenina is his most mature work. I think a lot of the stuff, if I'm not just defending nostalgia now.
Perspective of style and structure. Anna Karenina.
If I'm not just defending nostalgia now, I think that what I saw in War and Peace this read is, wow, there's a lot of stuff here that's preparing this author to write Anna Karenina.
Well, and I just want to say...
But it still doesn't change my gut instinct to say that I would preserve War and Peace over Anna Karenina.
War and Peace has such scope that it's hard to argue against it. That's what War and Peace has going for it, is the scope, which is
just
amazing.
Like, actually now, you know what? A similar argument, having read the Henriade from Shakespeare, even though it's less mature than The Tempest and Lear, which I love, I think I would choose Henriade over Lear because of the scope.
Oh, I would too.
I would.
But I would say that Lear is the mature Shakespeare.
That's what I'm saying.
In a similar vein, Anna Karenina, the depth that he sees into Anna and Levin.
Yeah,
and Kitty.
Yeah, Lear and The Tempest are the mature Shakespeare. The depth that he sees into those characters is on par with anything that Tolstoy could do.
Right.
But I would still keep the Henriade.
But I would keep Anna because I think Anna has enough scope. You know, Anna doesn't lack in scope. It has a lot of characters. It's got Stevan Oblonsky. It's got Dolly.
The depth is unparalleled. That's the thing.
I don't think that the portrait...
I would hate to lose.
The portrait...
I would hate to lose it, yeah.
A lot of what you get in terms of the depth of characterization in War and Peace is what you get from Austen. And in some places, and in some ways, better than Austen.
I agree.
Natasha is able to be Kitty and Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And Austen's not able to give you an Elizabeth who's also Kitty or a Kitty who's also Elizabeth.
And Tolstoy sees that a woman could be both, where I think Austen, maybe in defense of her own sex, isn't quite allowed.
Well, here's a good example.
Doesn't quite allow.
That still is only slightly above Austen in characterization, whereas with Anna Karenina, there is nothing in the world that
where
comes
this came
close.
Where this came clearest to me was Levin is both Pierre and Andre combined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you read Anna Karenina, and who doesn't come away thinking, I am Levin, and I am understood, and I am seen. Everybody reading that thinks that.
Whereas you read Pierre, and Pierre feels like, oh, he didn't like that guy. He didn't like himself. And then he did. Pierre feels like he's doing something.
You know where he
Andre
comes
feels like he's doing something. Oh, he's the intellectual that blah, blah, blah. You can trace those guys. Levin just lives. Levin just breathes. And Anna does too.
With this read, the closest I came, and you made this point on our Slack again, $250, people.
Yeah, $250.
Was that the place you feel it the most is the epilogue with those characters, where you see Pierre come into his fruition.
Yeah, the epilogue is...
You kind of see what becomes Anna Karenina.
The epilogue brings me to tears, not with anything sad, but just, or even noble, but just with
it's sad.
The skill, the insight. The epilogue is when he begins to get to the genius level of Anna Karenina.
And the fact that, and there's the genius showing throughout this work too, and that he gives sympathy to people you would never expect it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he gives Nicola Schinke the last bit.
Yeah, sweet.
It's moving.
It is sweet.
Yeah. And what did you say in the context? So I hadn't finished reading it, and I was trying hard to remember.
They're Decemberists.
They all die, yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to think that both Pierre and Nicola Schinke are headed to their deaths because Pierre's stupid and he thinks that he can help shape
Ever the
world
idealist.
Yeah, he's an idealist. He thinks he can shape the world through his ideas and doesn't realize that there's a Stalin on the rise who doesn't trust ideas.
Or Lenin in this case.
Yeah. Well, it's Nicholas.
Right.
Nicholas Schinke is going to follow him.
Yeah, and he'll kill him.
And Pierre is...
They will be the Decemberists.
Consigning Andre's son to death.
Yeah, but there's a sort of beauty and nobility to it because... better be a Decemberist than someone who just blindly follows.
Right.
Like Nikolai.
Yeah.
Well, and Pierre's never been quite fit for this world. He's always been just weird.
So what you could say, the counter argument would be, okay, in Anna Karenina, he gave us an everyman that we can all really enter into.
With Levin, yeah.
Fully with Levin. And therefore he gave us an unreality. There's no everyman that really exists that we can all fully enter into and really... But there are Pierres and there are Andres.
I would actually argue that Levin resonates for particular people.
Well, I
think that may be fair.
But what I think what he does actually, and I think he does it here with these characters, with Natasha, with Pierre, he finds what's specific about people and what's universal about people, and he finds them and makes them one and the same in a way that's just, for lack of a word that's not dumb, magical. That's what it is with Levin. Levin is a specific character. He's a type. He's a dude. You've met him. You've met people that aren't him. You've met people that are him. In some ways, you are him. And he's absolutely universal, and you can see yourself in him. So I don't actually think Levin falls to that devil's advocacy. I think Levin is every man, and right. Levin is Levin.
I think you're right. And I think our listeners a lot of our listeners may sympathize with this, which, honestly, the kind of people that do a podcast like this and the kind of people that maybe listen to a podcast like this are maybe just the kind of people that are more Levin than not Levin.
Well, can I also say the kind of people that listen to a podcast and do a podcast like this is kind of an argument in Brandon's camp. It feels like with Pierre, the first half of the Pierre story, he's making fun of Pierre, or he has a chip on his shoulder about Pierre.
Yeah, it really does.
And
I remember thinking, okay, Pierre is the Tolstoy stand-in, but this is like the self-deprecating. I hate myself.
Yeah, you can see kind of what happened. Apparently, I told the legend of what happened with Anna Karenina on our context with Anna Karenina, where at first she was supposed to be
Nobody
hateable.
Remembers, yeah.
She was supposed to be a hateable character, but he couldn't keep her that way.
Which I love.
Yeah. He had to make her...
If that's not the legend, I don't want to know.
Thing
that's great. Yeah.
Yep.
And so you see that working out with Pierre. He wants to hate Pierre at the beginning. He wants him to just be a buffoon.
And it's like halfway through that it's around the time of the comet, Pierre becomes...
Yeah, he lets him see the comet and Pierre changes.
Right.
And it's because of Natasha.
And he goes to prison.
But even with Andre, who I feel like he has
and to be honest, Pierre's kind of ridiculous up to that point.
Yeah,
it's fair enough.
And there are people like that. When we make any criticism, you have to understand we're saying, the Mona Lisa is not quite perfect. You know, I mean, this is a perfect book. It's the second best book or the first best book that we've read on the Bookening.
I think it's one of the best books we've read. One of the two best books.
The two best books we've read are Anna Karenina.
That's what
and
I'm
War and
willing to
Peace.
say.
I will say that. I will say that they're better than
I'll go on
than
record
Pride and
with you.
Prejudice, and people know how much I love that.
And East of Eden and anything else
certainly.
that people have read with us and connected to on a
And I'm willing.
So we're talking about degrees
from both an objective and subjective standpoint.
And two of the Bookening.
War and Peace
we
is
have
one
peaked.
of the top two.
We will probably
period.
never read something better than this on the
You know
Bookening.
what, guys? Two of the Bookening guys say that Anna Karenina is better. I'm fine with Anna Karenina having first place. But as long as War and Peace and Anna Karenina are like neck and neck up there.
Yeah. No, we're only arguing about whether Michelangelo or Donatello, which Ninja Turtle is better. That's what I meant.
Yeah, obviously.
It's down between those two.
Yeah, it's between those two. I mean, Raphael, come on.
Donatello was always my guy.
Right.
But
Nobody wants to be Leonardo.
Raphael, I mean, he's cool, but he's a little rude. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's a rude dude with an attitude.
Michelangelo, though, he's a party
you
dude.
The kind of guy who builds machines, or are you a party dude?
Or are you party dude? Yeah.
I'm a Donatello all the way. I think.
Donatello, baby.
Where were we? We lost track with that beautiful Ninja Turtles riff.
I don't know. Pierre.
Oh, I don't know if this is where we were, but this is something that I wanted to say. Pierre feels like Tolstoy has a design to me.
Yeah.
Like he wants Pierre to represent this. And Andre, same thing. Andre feels like it's Tolstoy's theory of history personified. Here's this dude that has all these grand notions of great men who's in love with Napoleon. And then he learns, oh, actually, I should just be a cool dude and lead my men. And I should tell Kutuzov and the emperor himself that, like, sorry, dude, I'm going to be with my guys because that's where the Russian spirit is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go from... He feels like Tolstoy has a point. And that's great. Jane Austen has a point. All the great authors that we read has a point. But it doesn't quite get to the level of Levin just breathing and living and just being a guy.
Anna Karenina never just has that point like that.
Right. Both the main characters. And I would say actually Natasha is the one that comes the closest for me, at least. Natasha just feels like, well, she's Natasha. She does what Natasha does.
I think Pierre comes pretty close at the end.
He does. Pierre goes through a lot of permutations.
The character that also fits that is Petya, because he's just such an immature little puppy.
Yep.
And then he just goes,
he's perfect.
Yeah, popped.
Yep.
He feels as true to life as any of the other characters.
Yeah, I mean, can I just make my Coen Brothers point real fast? Please. It's, I think with this book, I mean, maybe it fails in the end of being the great novel like Anna Karenina, but you definitely see Tolstoy unintentionally, because he had no idea who the Coens were, outdoing everybody with this book. You have these little moments where he just...
the Coens and I went to Hemingway.
Yeah. He's just like showing everybody how to do it.
Well, it's just that it's the unfair, quick...
I was thinking of what was the Buster Scruggs or whatever it was that made me so mad.
I saw that, yeah.
It's worth seeing.
The Ballad of...
Yeah, well, there's a particular short story in there called The Gal Who Got Rattled. Which
made me so angry, because I was just like, this is so pointless.
Well, it's also, it just captures the unfairness. That's the word I keep coming back to.
But so, and that's what ends up, and when I read this here, it made me realize what makes me so angry with the Coens, is when you watch a Coen short like that, they want you to think, oh, how clever the Coens are. When you read Tolstoy, you don't get that at all. He's just like, this happened to Petya. Aren't you sad?
You know, I want to say, in some ways for me, Natasha, Petya, and Nikolai are all more successful. I mean, again, we're talking about the Rostovs. The Rostovs in general are more successful.
Count Rostov is amazing.
They're the most well-rounded.
I mean, if you want to,
it doesn't feel like Tolstoy is making a point. It feels like he's just following these characters.
With Count Rostov, who does he outdo?
Austen.
He outdoes. That's with Berg and whatever in it.
Berg and Julia.
Yeah.
Julie.
Yep. And
that's right. Great, where he
Count Rostov, he outdoes Dickens.
Yeah.
Because Dickens always wanted to paint you cartoons. Count Rostov is a little bit cartoonish, but he's still real.
Well, you know where I think he outdoes Dickens? Were you finished with that point? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Place where I think he specifically, probably in his mind, said, I'm going to repudiate Dickens. I think Tolstoy may well have been conscious of this, because I know
he was a big Dickens
he was a Dickens fan, right? Is Sonia. Because Dickens is full of beautiful, self-denying girls who end up having a happy ending because Dickens sentimentally wants them to have a happy ending. And 19th century Victorian literature is full of that stuff. And I think Tolstoy specifically wanted to say, no, Sonia,
a little bit.
You messed up. You should have gone after what you wanted, actually. Like, you shouldn't have been so...
Well, she was too clever by half, right?
Yeah.
Like, what she thought was oh, I know what's going to happen. Andrei's going to recover. Wow. Andrei and Natasha are going to get together, and I'm going to score points by letting Nikolai off the hook. This is all going to work out great for me.
And then it doesn't.
And then she just becomes Maria part 2, which is really sad, I think.
Yeah.
We'll talk about anti-Dickens is Maria, right? If she was a Dickens character, she would be completely angelic.
So
she would never get angry at little Nikolashinka.
Yep.
She would never have these moments where she's like her father. But instead, here we have a well-rounded character who
the straight up
is full of weakness, sin.
Realism. The realism of Tolstoy is
astounding. I mean,
it's what we were saying, when we were talking about it off mic. He's like an alien from another planet who
just observes,
showed up and was able to observe everything with objectivity.
Yep.
He's like this guy who, how's it possible?
No, that's what I felt when I first read him. I think it was the perfect moment for me. I mentioned that in Baggage, but I posted some videos to Instagram, but it was literally in a very fancy music hall with all the rich people chatting with her champagne. I posted a video of what it looked like. Angels on the side of it with trumpets and the most important piano competition in the world happening there. And then you had basically Anna Scherer's soiree happening right there. I was like, man, that's like, this guy, he got it.
He gets it.
It's like, yeah.
Well, I think with Sonia and Maria particularly, you see him, just any other author could be so sentimental about both of those characters, and he refuses. And not in a nasty Coen Brothers kind of, I'm gonna show you how
he's not
reality really
or
works.
Sentimental.
Yeah.
He's a realist.
He's just realistic.
And that's the thing that get these moments of like, Amanda, when I was reading and coming near the end and I was telling her, everybody's dying, everybody's going to die. She was like, are you going to be wrecked? I was like, I don't think so. And it's not because it's any less real. It's because maybe in some ways it's more real. He doesn't care so much about my catharsis. He's not sentimental.
Right. We're not saying something about all the young soldiers who died. We're just saying Petya died. It's sad.
They died. People die, and you're going to die too.
But it's not a symbol of anything bigger.
What I want, if there's anything that I want, it's for you to realize, hey, everybody dies. Everybody's forgotten. Everybody dies in their own special way, and it's not really that special. Petya dies. Old Count Rostov is going to die. Like, Andrei's going to die. Everybody's going to die, and you're going to die too. And it's sad, and it's scary, and it's beautiful, and you'd better figure out how to live well and die well and suffer well and teach your children to suffer well, because that's really all you got. At the end of the day, you can't control the course of history. You're not going to influence these great events, but what you can do is you can get married and you can have babies and you can teach them to live and to suffer well, and you can not be too high-minded about yourself, and you can look at reality and see it for what it is. Everybody's on their course and they're going to play their part, and there's a divine hand that's guiding it all, and you ought to strive to fear God and be righteous and not be afraid to look at things the way they are. That's what Tolstoy tries to give you. That if there's a feeling or something that he tries to, it's that. It's not really wreck you kind of sad. It's just sort of sober.
Yeah, this is what happens. It'll be interesting. Yeah. We've been talking, I think, did we decide we're going to watch the BBC version of this?
We're pretty close.
Okay, well, folks, we haven't officially decided. But if we do
people want to hear us talk about the BBC?
Yeah, let us know, folks. Here's the thing. I bet that version has an opinion on whether Sonia...
It sentimentalizes it, I'm sure.
I'm sure Maria... it might even do kind of the cynical Game of Thrones thing. Like, Maria finally figured out she needed to go after what she wanted, and then she got Nikolai, and she nailed him down, whereas Sonia was
it'll give a
self-denying.
Spin to it.
Well, I don't know what it'll... Yeah, you're probably right. But even if it doesn't do that, it'll take sides in a way that, Anatole and Helena will be the bad guys. There's a little bit of that. I'm not saying Tolstoy...
Dolokhov is the bad guy.
But even Dolokhov loves his mom. I mean, Tolstoy...
Yeah, but...
I actually liked Dolokhov better than... I think Helena is the only person that I just,
hate. Yeah.
She felt like a Dickens...
Helena was
this is just
the
villain.
Yeah.
There are two characters that are completely one-dimensional. Well, maybe three. You said Rostopchin.
Rostopchin, yeah.
Napoleon's pretty one-dimensional, and Helena is pretty one-dimensional.
But insofar as Napoleon's one-dimensional, it's Tolstoy saying,
But
here's another dimension to this great man that you thought you knew.
Yeah.
And
to be fair to Tolstoy, there are some people who so give themselves over to their lusts and their sins that they become pretty one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one person in mind right now.
I think we all know Helena's. Anatoles, we definitely know a million Anatoles. I mean, Jane Austen knew her share of Anatoles.
Yeah, I mean, he's just Wickham or Willoughby.
Yeah, exactly. He's like the classic Austen villain.
Spoilers for Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah.
You say Anatole or Anatole?
Anatole is what I say.
No, I said Anatole, but that's because I'm a rube.
Well, I didn't know. I was just asking.
I've always said Anatole.
I said Anatole, but I didn't know.
Anatole.
You know, it's funny. A lot of translations have. Does Constance Gardner do
the accent,
Andrew?
Accent.
Or sorry, Constance who?
No, she says Anatole.
Does she do Andrew and Mary
instead of Andre?
No, she says Andre.
Because I've seen some translations that do Andrew and Mary.
I think that might be. Yeah,
Maria.
I've seen those
and
translations.
Nicholas,
Mary or Maria.
For all of Constance Garnett's faults, she preserves the Russian names fairly faithfully, as far as I remember. Because these were all familiar names to me. And I grew up with,
she didn't give you Peter.
She didn't give me Peter.
Well, guys, this has been a complete grab bag of a conversation. I planned for it to be much more structured, but this is actually a kind of hard novel to talk about because it's so much fun.
We had the same problem with Anna Karenina.
Yeah, it's just like, it's great. That part was great. I don't know how to talk about it. It's good.
What about that Troika ride through the snow?
Oh, man. That and the hunt, and the dance after the hunt.
Yeah.
Almost Karenina level, Brandon.
Almost
right
Karenina level.
Yeah.
The rain on the back.
Well, honestly, the rain on the back,
fields.
Levin in the field and Levin going hunting, I would say, are the equal of those scenes.
Nikolai hunting is pretty much the equal of Levin hunting. I mean, that hunting scene is amazing.
Well, if you want to compare hunting scenes, I think the hunting
scene in War and Peace is better.
Yeah. Nikolai and the fact that, what's her face, Natasha comes with, and then
they end up at the uncle's house.
The uncle's house with the Troika.
And that Christmas scene where they go with the mummers, that's...
Oh, man.
When people ask me of the greatest Christmas moments, I think of Weirdly the Dead by Joyce.
I think correctly, but weirdly, but correctly.
And I think of that scene.
Well, and
also I think of Willa Cather.
Sure, yeah. But capturing young love, I mean, it's funny that Tolstoy himself is not romantic about it, and it does not, in fact, work out in the novel. But
he nails it.
But just Andre, like...
It puts me back in, like,
Christmas
exactly. Dance in high school.
Yeah, it's high school.
Looking back to pretty girls back in the carriage behind you.
But it's not just pretty. It's like she contains contains all life. She is the vital thing.
Well, it's just the thing. It's like you're coming up to Christmas, and it's like, if you don't have a girlfriend at Christmas time, it's because you're ugly, and stupid. Better be somebody that you. There's always going to be somebody you're going to fall in love with, and
this is Christmas.
When they
out in the snow.
When they stand in the snow.
Snow like sugar with the moonlight shining on it.
And she's got a fake mustache because they're doing the mummer thing or whatever.
But she looks beautiful.
But she's beautiful anyway.
You've been out caroling, or you've done some weird school, like you've done something for the homeless or whatever, some dumb.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
She's a little bit out of breath.
Yeah, her face her cheeks are rosy because of the weather and everything else. And
we've all been there.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And Tolstoy, he captures it perfectly. So you just want to make those horses fly over the snow to impress her to get the...
Yeah, you're going to race, and you and your friends are going to do a thing, and you're going to win. And I can...
Talk about also...
I feel it.
Yeah,
I feel like going all the way back to middle school.
Mm-hmm. All the way back to middle school, yeah. Makes me think, my son, I got to watch him.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Also, talk about knowing having the number of the teens. When you have that scene where Anatole and they all bring that guy who would like drive them around the city and run people over in his carriage. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
You're like, man,
yep.
You're like Tolstoy. He can put to shame. I mean, he's got the, what's that, Grand Theft Auto, whatever.
Yeah.
That whole culture, the...
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift. What's that show?
Fast and Furious?
Fast and Furious. He's got all these kids' numbers.
Well, the fact, I mean...
He knows what drives these boys. It's just wanting to go out and be impressive to girls. That's it.
Well, heck yeah. I mean, we did that. I mean, we did street races and dumb stuff like that, and our dumb little Ford Tauruses and Honda Civics.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, man.
And then he gets the mid-20s. I think I am spiritually enlightened because I've fallen in love with a beautiful chick.
Yeah.
That whole thing. And, Andre and Pierre both do it.
Yeah.
I have entered into a new phase of enlightenment. No, you haven't. Natasha's cute. That's it.
Yeah.
You dummy. I will walk past the tree and it will be in bud. And I will think, no. Come on.
No. We know what you are.
We know. I will think of the girl who said she could fly up into the... No, come on, Andre.
Andre, you thought you were such a serious person.
Well, Tolstoy.
Not.
I love Andre. Andre's always been one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andre's great.
He's pretty great.
He is. We were supposed to talk about him this episode.
Yeah, this episode was supposed to be the Andre and Pierre episode, but
Was it?
I think we're about out of time here.
Yeah, so we'll have to do that next episode.
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll have to do more after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. We are going to get you your year of Tolkien, which, by the way, it's not 52 episodes about Tolkien, in case anyone... about Tolkien. It's not 52 episodes about Tolkien.
Are we doing that again, Nathan?
Yeah, now finally Brad from Britain can understand us again.
Hey, Brad, it's been like
Brad.
2 years,
Yeah, we haven't talked to you for a while, mate.
Hey,
Hey.
crackers, and I mean cookies.
Wait, we got crackers in our cookies.
I mean crackers. When I say crackers, I mean cookies.
Oh.
Give me a
So
cracker.
You want some Ritz cookies?
Yeah, I do, Nathan. You got it.
Yeah. Or some Christmas crackers.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Quality content from the Bookening.
I thought you meant... I thought biscuits.
Oh, biscuits, that's it.
Yeah. Ritz biscuits.
Biscuits.
Ritz biscuits.
Now we
Yeah,
understand.
now Brad's understood all this. He's been, I don't know why he even listens to the other stuff. What were we
He's
talking
just-
about? Are the new listeners finally gone? they made it pretty far this time.
We were apologizing. This was supposed to be Andre and Pierre, and it's not been at all.
No.
Well, it's been a smattering.
No. I mean, I don't know. This book's so much fun to talk about. It's just like you want
We
to talk
could
about
spend
everything
3
all
more
at once.
episodes talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, yes, here's what I was going to say. We will get to Tolkien. We're not doing 52 episodes on Tolkien. We are doing an episode a month on Tolkien, and that will probably start in February, honestly, because War and Peace. Sorry,
People-
folks, but we gotta do this thing justice.
I want to promise people.
Well, and the fact is, we unlocked the $1,000 a month in January.
yeah, we still have to read some of the books.
You got to give us some time to.
Brandon has to get a
started.
context ready.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't just pull these contexts out of his
This
head.
takes time. I like to
Yeah.
do some reading, people.
Yeah.
I like to do. Maybe I should start posting my sources
I think you should actually
online,
just
so
for
people
fun.
can see
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah,
To put it on Instagram.
yeah.
there's
Brandon put some work.
You really should follow us on Instagram.
at the
Follow us
Bookening.
on Instagram. We'll provide our sources. It's just a good thing to do, anyways. For context, I will give you the sources I use,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll know. I mean, when we give you a context for Tolkien in February, there's work that's going to go into that. There's going to be
Absolutely.
books that I read. There's going to be stuff that we do. So.
And meanwhile, he's got to feed his family. He's got to kiss his wife. Brandon's got a
I'm
busy
supposed
life.
to be writing a
He's,
dissertation.
he's trying to write a dissertation, folks.
But you people keep giving us money, and so I have other books I have to read instead of the books I'm supposed to be reading for my dissertation.
And let's not forget, we've got Austin coming around the corner, and
And I've got to find something new to do with her. Last year I read the book by her nephew.
yeah, I don't know what you're going to do this year.
I don't either.
She was a lady.
I think I'm going to try to read some of her letters, actually. I may have already done that, Nathan.
Yeah, her letters are great.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you did. Anyway, we're going to give War and Peace its due, though. War and Peace comes first, because it is actually
It
one
deserves it.
of the 2 best books we've read on the Bookening, the other one being Anna K.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly.
Yep.
We'll be back next week with perhaps more linear thoughts on War and Peace, eh?
yeah, sounds
Folks?
good.
All right, guys, we've got some patrons.
We do.
So
They're the reason we have to read Tolkien.
they're the reason we get to read Tolkien.
We get to.
Brandon.
I'm actually. Hey guys, positive energy. I'm really excited about Tolkien.
I am too.
like Tolkien.
I haven't read it since I was a kid, and I loved it then, and I have not come back to it. I've seen a million Peter Jackson movies in
I've
between.
read The Lord of the
I've not
Rings.
read it since before Peter Jackson, since before I knew who Peter Jackson
I
was.
have. I've read The Lord of the Rings a few times, actually.
I never finished Return of the King the first time through,
Yeah.
but I've read Fellowship twice now. I'm in the process. I mean, I got a jump start with my kids because I wanted to do this with
Good.
my kids.
Well,
so-
and it'll be
beginning
super
to
fun to hear
realize-
about your kids' reaction.
I never realized that. Yeah, Lord of the Rings ranks up there pretty highly with books I've reread. By the way, would people like to guess? I just reorganized my books at home, all my books, so I now know. I've put all the authors together.
Mm-hmm.
Guess which author I have the most books of?
Agatha Christie,
No,
Ernest Cline.
no.
C.S. Lewis.
Yes, by 10 books.
He wrote a lot of books. That guy.
Yeah.
By 10 books, he must have a pretty complete Lewis collection.
I have
actually.
a huge Lewis collection. I have a pretty decent library, Nathan.
Yeah. Well, Brandon has an
Brandon's
awesome
library-
library.
Is the kind of library that you would pay to have access to be honest.
We should do a behind the scenes video, behind the paywall video, just of Brandon showing us around his library.
It would
That would be fun.
be well worth it.
We'll do it, folks.
The crazy thing I mean, I remember the first time I saw Brandon's library, and I was making jokes about how impossible it was that he had read even a fraction. And he was like, what percentage of your library would you say that you've read?
That's a good question.
It's a big library, folks.
I was blown away.
For a while, I had a principle that I would only buy a book if I had at least tried to read it. I'm of the camp that if I start it and it's no good, I won't finish it.
Sure.
I don't
Life's
know.
short.
Like, you hear the stories of people who have their amazing libraries, and you can pick any book and they can and turn to a page and start a quote and they can finish it or whatever. Like those kinds of lies. But like,
Of the men we know, Brandon comes
Brandon-
far and away the closest.
far and away
Far and away.
lives up to that kind of legend.
Yeah.
Whatever you've heard about people, like, we'll show you Brandon's library and we'll go through, and
it won't be staged.
No.
I guarantee you, if we can find a book on one of Brandon's shelves that he's not read, or
At least tried to read.
We will impress ourselves.
Yeah. Be ready to be impressed at my library.
Guys, we've got donors. Now, how do you get a donor shout out, guys?
$10 a month, patreon.com/the Bookening. That's all it takes.
Hey, by the way, if you're strapped for cash, just spread the word.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'd really like, is just for more people to know about the Bookening. So pick out your favorite episode. Maybe it's the Ready Player One episode where Jake makes Brandon repudiate Tolstoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
maybe,
good episode.
Maybe it's the poetry episode where
The one in my kitchen that apparently was our representative episode for a while, Anna was telling me.
yeah, it was marked as a bonus episode so that people wouldn't think it was important, but it turns out that Apple puts bonus episodes right near the top.
Yeah. So she recommended to her friend that she listen to the Bookening, and that was the episode that she listened to.
Oh.
The one in our kitchen. She thought it was fine.
Well, good.
She didn't know what else to expect.
I have
though.
now rectified it since Anna told me that. Maybe it's East of Eden Part 3.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
Maybe it's one of the Hollow Scream episodes.
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe it's the episode about H.P. Lovecraft's The Outsider. Probably
I forgot about that episode.
the greatest work of literature we've read.
Man, there are so many episodes I've forgotten about.
Unhappy is he who
Yeah.
lives in damask halls of eldritch horror and all that stuff.
A lot of books.
Maybe it's one of those weird episodes with just me and Jake. There's a couple of those.
More episodes with you and Brandon than me and you.
Yeah,
For a
you guys had
while, it
Christmas
was
episode.
for a while you and me had
We did a Stephen King and
You
whatever.
did another one that people liked.
yeah.
That might be it.
Well, I mean, Commander Daddy was born out of that.
Yeah, the
If you want to find me on PlayStation,
Is it Commander Daddy?
it's Commander Daddy 84.
Hey, there you
That's
go, folks.
that's my my call sign or
Yep.
whatever.
You can ask
It's my
Commander Daddy
username
for
on PlayStation. So if you want to see all the NBA 2K trophies that I have,
I
Commander
do.
Daddy
look
84.
up
There you
Commander
go.
Daddy 84. Yeah. You want to know why it's Commander Daddy 84? Because some jerk
Took
Had
Jake
Commander
Mansell.
Daddy
had
already?
Commander Daddy.
You got to be
Oh.
kidding me.
I know.
Is Nathan?
Maybe. All right, Brendan,
Yeah.
can you do a Russian accent?
Oh, I cannot, Nathan.
Okay.
This is very French.
Give me my vodka.
All right, I need you to do a Russian accent.
Okay.
Jake, I need you
I will
to
try.
say a color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
all
it.
he has
All right,
to
here we
say.
go. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Robert and Rhonda the Lovebirds.
Robert and Ronda, the lovebirds.
Red.
The Artful Anthony Dodger.
Artful Anthony Dodger, which is a
Dodger.
cigar store. Yeah.
Blue.
You sound so Russian.
Yeah.
Little Anthony Cigar Store?
That's the cigar store right there.
just
I
did
said
that.
Anthony
Oh, did we?
Dodger. No, he
Yeah.
didn't. He said Anthony Dodger. I
Oh.
messed it up.
Yeah.
He said Anthony. Cigar store and,
Green.
Ukraine and Trump.
The Mortal
Trump.
Chelsea E.
Immortal Chelsea.
Magenta.
Ale. Let's drink some vodka together. Eh?
Our new favorite character, Russian Brandon.
Oh, yeah. Just guttural. Yeah. I think I sound like the guy from Despicable Me.
Yeah.
Groot.
Jimmy Beam and Little Annie Oakley.
Little Annie Oakley. Hey, how you doing there?
Like a Tar Heel Blue.
Tar Heel Blue.
Yeah, I like that.
Tar Heel
Andrew
Blue.
and Esther the Lovebirds.
And Andrew and Esther the Lovebirds.
Robin's Egg Blue.
It's little bitty
It's different
birds, the little
than
birds in the
Tar Heel
trees.
Blue.
The Lovebirds.
The
Okay.
lovebirds just
You
singing.
gotta get through this, guys.
The Keithmaster.
It's the Keith Master. Hey,
Black.
Keith Master, how you doing? You
David's
still,
Mighty Man
David's
Trucking.
Mighty Man Trucking.
Purple.
You come over to Russia and you drive
John and
to-
Jill and Little Baby
Like
Max.
the Ice Road Trucking.
Indigo.
It's, the
John and Katie, who are
Jill
cold
and
enough
the
cheese,
Baby
and also
Max,
C.S. Lewis,
they
including
love the
Toby
C.S.
Face.
Lewis. Why they
Ice
love him, I
Blue.
don't know.
Harry, Princess of Wonder and Happiness,
She's happy. We're not happy in Siberia. We put you there, and you will not be very happy anymore. But hey, what do we say?
A different shade of purple. Royal purple.
Yes.
Only the most true and sympathetic, insightful looks into Russia from Brandon.
That's right.
From Russian Brandon.
That's Russian Brandon.
Okay, Russian Brandon does not deal in stereotype.
No, I do not.
Fairy Princess of Wonder and Happiness, Mother Beth.
We did that.
Oh, Consul Prime Adam.
Consul Prime Adam, that sounds very Russian right there. You want to come enjoy
Scarlet.
It's a combat.
Jeremy the Dark is Lord of Death. And Dark Prince
Lord of
Bear,
Death.
Princess Bug of Death
I
Whom
know
Die.
Charcoal.
I know him very,
Nathan,
very
not me.
well. Nathan, not.
Turquoise.
That's very confusing. Is he not Maya.
Aqua.
Ryan the Red Avenger and
Ryan's
Judith of
the
the Ladies
Red
of
Avenger.
Justice.
He's red. Does he have the sickle, though? That's the
Is this
question.
red as
If
red
He doesn't
can
have
be.
the hammer and the sickle.
Blood
Then
red.
He's not a real comrade of mine. I
Danny
will
the
not.
Dude.
Danny's the dude.
Brick red.
What
which
is this
would
American
be
word, dude?
DJ Sammy G.
Crayola.
Yeah, Sammy G. I bet some idiot out there goes
Cerulean, whatever
wicca. Yeah,
that
he
blue-
thinks that's really
you know,
cool
you
to do
remember
that.
that?
You know
Benny
what I'm
and
talking
Danny
about. Benny and
Tiberius.
Danny
Cauliflower.
Tiberius. That sounds
Remember
Roman
that?
to me. And I
Eric and Catherine from Yon Window Breaks.
Eric and Catherine
Yellow.
from Yon Window Bricks.
Professor and Lady X.
Professor and Lady X. That sounds very mysterious to me. I like that.
Lavender's green, Dylan,
Lavender's blue.
Orange.
Lavender's green, Dylan.
I love you too.
Noah Constrictor.
Green.
Mara Cheap, the fair and fragrant maiden Chloe.
And also the
Six
fair
pack
and
Zach
fragrant
with a mean
Six
attack,
boys.
and
That's
Catherine
so
with a knack
tough.
for laying down the
Yes,
smack.
he's lots of
Anthony, who is
smack.
cold and hates life, liberty,
I'm
and the
cold
pursuit
too
of
in
cheese.
Siberia. You're
Gray.
very cold there. You
Jujitsu Jeffrey, the Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger. Hey, I like Walker. He's amazing. He's a hero of mine.
Rachel.
Rachel.
Leopard Tank Thomas.
Leopard Tank Thomas. You bring your tanks to Russia. We'll show you real tanks. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll show you where we hide. the
No, I
nuclear
really don't know what you mean. What do you mean by
Wow.
that?
I mean, your
Hey.
American tanks are very petty, and they're small tanks, and we'll show you the real tanks. You know, Russian tanks, fueled by vodka.
Thanks.
Tanks.
Midnight Ninja Ellen.
Midnight Ninja Ellen. That
Navy
sounds
blue.
scary. Who's she?
Queen Kangetta.
Queen Kungeta. Is that like a Kendrick Lamar song? I'm just confused.
Return of the Jedediah.
Return of the Jedediah.
King Kunta.
Yeah, King Gunther.
Yeah, that would be King
yeah.
Kuta. Jay of Rack and
What's the
Ruin.
yams?
Jay of Rack and Ruin. I like Rack and Ruin. Yeah, we could be friends. We could drink a glass of vodka together. We could be friends. How's that sound?
Now we've got two more, but oh no, Russian Brandon has to go.
What?
Bye, Russian Brandon.
Who says I have to go anywhere?
I do. Bang.
Oh, American shot.
Bang.
Oh, it's like always.
Bang.
I'm dead.
Another classic appearance from Russian Brandon, right up there with the Mysterious Phantom in terms of beloved booking characters. We should see if we can get the Russian Brandon and the Mysterious Phantom to appear at the same time. That'd be great.
fun. Yeah, we should.
Be a match made in somewhere. All right.
Mysterious Phantom just poked his head up over on Sanity.
Yeah, he did. Just for a
Really? He's
blinking, you'll miss him.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what happened. I think
He was looking for Bradley, and
Oh, was he?
yeah, it's New Year's
Oh.
Eve.
I'm not sad that he hasn't found Bradley.
You know, we have two people to welcome though,
Do we really?
and I want English Brandon or American Brandon. English Brandon.
You don't want-
English Brandon.
I'll give you English, Brandon. My accent's all the best, Nathan. Top notch, cheerio.
No, I think that American Brandon and American Jake should welcome
Okay.
Timothy,
Timothy.
Welcome, Timothy.
Welcome, Timothy.
or as I like to call him, Timothy.
The Tool Man Taylor.
No, Brandon, he needs a cooler name than that.
Timothy the Tank.
No, he's not Timothy the Tank. Come on. Give Timothy a little dignity. Timothy is the rider at dawn.
Timothy the Rider at Dawn. I like that. Timothy the Rider at Dawn. What do you think, Russian, Brandon?
I think that's very good, Brandon. Timothy's the writer at dawn. You know?
So-
the Red Dawn, you like to.
Well, this is interesting because we actually have another couple with a very similar name.
Really?
You guys,
Is it Eric and Catherine again?
well, you know, we have Eric and Catherine from Yon Window Breaks.
Yeah.
We've also now got Eric and Kate.
Eric and Kate.
From Yon Window Prates.
Jake, I can't accept that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty lame.
I love you, but Eric and Kate deserve better.
Eric and Kate.
Well, I'm sure you've already thought of something better.
I have not.
You didn't think about this beforehand, Nathan?
No, we need to workshop it here. How about Eric and Kate? I like Jake's instinct. Let's go with something that plays off of previous things. Like if Jay and Katie are cold and love cheese, maybe Eric and Kate are warm
And
Love bees.
and love bees.
are warm and have fleas.
I kind of like warm.
Mine's better than that.
I like warm and love bees.
And also Jane Austen.
Well, they can.
And Leo Tolstoy.
What in the world was that, Nathan?
I sneezed.
That was the strangest sneeze I have ever seen.
We're done here.
Eric and Kate, we might upgrade your name next episode, but for this episode, you're going to be Eric and Kate, who are warm and love bees.
But we got to give them the longer tag after that. And also Jane Austen and Tolstoy and everything wonderful about literature.
And also Jane Austen
And Tolstoy. And everything wonderful about
and
literature.
everything wonderful about literature.
Since Jay and Katie, who are cold and love cheese, have decided to declare themselves as Camp Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can declare yourselves as Camp Anti-Lewis or Camp Chesterton or Camp Champ.
Yep.
Camp Champ.
Camp Champ.
That Care Bears movie.
You know what? That's who they are. Eric and Kate, the Camp Champ Kings.
Eric and Kate, the Camp Champ Kings. Okay.
You're welcome.
You got that Care Bears reference? You can at me.
Care Bear Stare.
Care Bear
Dark Heart.
Care Bear Cousins Ho.
Care Bear Cousins Ho.
Care Bear Cousins. Ho! I feel like this episode is done. Written, kind of. Performed, arguably. Edited, most definitely. Folks, we'll be back next week with more wonderful War and Peace. And Year of Tolkien's coming up soon. Think the way we're going to do that, by the way. Can we just tell the folks?
Yeah.
So,
Do it.
yeah. So, the way we're going to do that is...
I'm back.
Yeah.
More lightning.
So much light.
We got Palpatine Brandon's here.
Do it, Nathan.
Palpatine Brandon, how do you feel about Russian Brandon?
He's a loser.
He's a loser, yeah.
Kill them all.
Kill him.
We agree.
Do it.
The way we're going to do it is starting February, you're going to get an episode of Context about Tolkien from Brandon Chastain. Me and Jake will say, interesting, Brandon.
Sometimes, yes.
And then the month after that, you're going to get The Hobbit. The month after that, you're going to get Book 1. Now, what do I mean by Book 1? I don't mean The Fellowship of the Ring. I mean Book 1 of The Lord of the Rings, which is like half of Fellowship. You know how it's divided up into books? You're going to get one
Crossing of the Brandywine.
Right.
I think that's what it is, right?
Precisely. And then you'll get Book 2 the next month, Book 3, Book 4. There's 6 books in all, so that'll take us through about half the year. And then you'll get some movies, some whatever else we feel like doing, but you'll definitely be getting some Tolkien every month.
Lots of Tolkien.
Lots of Tolkien. We're excited about it. And Brandon's eating chips.
Some chips out of here.
I think that means we should be done.
I think so.
We love you,
Some of us do.
And good night.
and good night.
Good afternoon.
The
good
snow
evening.
fell on the...
The snow fell faintly and faintly falling, like the descent of their last end over all the living.
And the dead.